Tonight, Israel to convert illegal posts into settlements. Germany and Turkey condemn the unlawful occupation. Under international law, all settlements in the West Bank are illegal. And the balloon saga continues. Days after the US shoots down a China balloon, Canada orders downing of another flying object.
It represented a reasonable threat to civilian aircraft.
Today is World Radio Day. Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid from Sound Vision sheds light on the legacy of Radio Islam.
The Radio Islam was not about preaching Islam, which there is nothing wrong about that, but it was more about Muslim talking to each other and our neighbors.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I am Catherine Bullock. A German Foreign Ministry spokesperson has condemned Israel's decision to legalise 9 outposts in the occupied West Bank and turn them into new settlements. He said such unilateral actions lead to intensified tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. Germany expects these measures not to be implemented. Despite being a staunch ally of Israel, Germany has repeatedly gone out of its way to criticize the continued Israeli settlement building, saying it complicates the so-called Middle East peace process. Estimates indicate about 650,000 settlers are living in 164 settlements and 116 outposts in the occupied West Bank. Under international law, all Jewish settlements in the occupied territories are considered illegal. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau ordered a fighter jet, to shoot down an unidentified object that was in Canadian airspace over the weekend. Following the order, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, also known as NORAD, shot down the object over the Yukon. The incident marks the 3rd time objects have been shot down above North American airspace in the past 7 days. 1 week ago, the UN downed an alleged Chinese spy balloon, and in the aftermath, Biden sanctioned 6 Chinese entities that are part of Beijing's aerospace industry. The US again shot down an object Friday off the coast of the state of Alaska. Former Calgary Mayor Naheed Nenshi says that despite being in office for 11 years, there is still Islamophobia in the country. While speaking to reporters 2 days ago, Nenshi said that hate crimes in Canada have gone up. He said there is religious bigotry and some policies discriminate against Muslims, Sikhs, and Orthodox Jews. Nenshi said political leaders have been reluctant to call these policies out. On Saturday, Nenshi said he would raise his concerns about Quebec's infamous Bill 21 in the Senate Committee on Human Rights today. Nenshi's win in the election in 2010 made him the first Muslim mayor of a major North American city.
I recognize that permitting this relationship to develop was a serious error in judgment on my part.
The city of Toronto is facing political uncertainty after a surprise announcement Friday by its mayor, John Tory, that he planned to resign. The 3-time re-elected mayor admitted having an affair with a former staffer during the pandemic. The move that has left his supporters and critics stunned raises questions about the city's upcoming budget and deteriorating public security in the city's transit. Tory played a key role in drafting the city's budget that councillors will begin to debate this Wednesday. Tory will stay in power until he submits a resignation letter and the councillors declare the office vacant. February 13th is World Radio Day, declared by UNESCO in 2011 and later adopted by the UN General Assembly in 2013 as an international day. This year's theme is Radio and Peace. To talk to us more about the role of radio in today's society, we are joined by Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid, President of Sound Vision Foundation. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Good to be with you.
Thank you for joining us. And in case people haven't clicked, Radio Islam is the precursor to what we're doing here at Muslim News Canada. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but I do want to just start with radio. For me personally, radio has played a very important part in my life. I wake up to the radio news. I listen to the radio while I cook, while I drive. Can you just tell us a little bit about what radio might mean to you?
Oh, I love radio. I remember after when I was in a village, there was one radio, not mine, somebody else's. And after Friday prayers, I will get close to that home in a window on the street side, because after Friday prayers, they will have a recitation of the Quran coming live for Qari Abdul Basit, peace be upon him. And it was just amazing experience. Every Friday afternoon, I stand by that window on a street. So somebody else's radio, I can enjoy listening to it. That was the time there were no CD or no cassettes. So that was amazing for us.
Those are memories that I share a similar memory. I used to be listening to a program called Reflections on Islam, and it was only broadcast during Ramadan, and he would have half an hour before Maghrib radio interviews and some Quran, and then he would broadcast the Adhan, and then we would know it's time to break our fast. This is all before, smartphones and YouTube and all of that. So I wonder if you have an idea or a feeling of how radio might have been impacted or changed by the move towards TV and YouTube and TikTok and things.
Radio is still there. A lot of passionate people are still doing the radio. If you try to buy a station, good luck, because not many are going on sale. So radio is still there. I mean, you move around, in different places, especially while driving and commuting. Radio still rule, but radio had tried to survive itself by turning into a podcast. So almost every radio is available as a podcast format also. So it has lengthened its survivability by adapting to it.
I have heard you tell the story of Radio Islam, which was a radio show that you were involved with for around 20 years, I believe. So just share with the listeners, how did you get into it? Why did you start it? What was it? What were the beginnings like?
Well, Muslims have a problem, and that is a problem of communication within Muslim community and communication with the broader society. And, I wanted television, but it was cost of production, cost of hardware, cost of distribution was all very huge, and a lot of cost. So radio was a good vehicle. And we were able to start that, and it lasted 20 years before we rolled it into Muslim Network Television. So Radio Islam had a big challenge about the name itself. I had several hundred people talking about it over the internet. What name should we choose? Almost all the Muslim wanted some oblique name like Radio Adhan, Radio this or that, which they know is a Muslim sounding name, but non-Muslim may not know. But all the non-Muslim friends, I don't use the word non-Muslim, but probably that will be easier description. I call them neighbors of other faith. And they were all gung-ho on, no, why in the world we want to talk about another, why we want to tune it to another radio unless there is a particular reason. And Radio Islam is something which I like to listen to. So when we started, interesting experiences. NPR showed up in our studio. And in the studio at that moment, a discussion was about breast cancer. An NPR reporter asked me what Muslims got to do with breast cancer. For a minute, I said, oh, wait a minute. Then I say, hey, Muslims have breasts. So we had a Muslim survivor of breast cancer. We have a Muslim physician and, of course, a Muslim host. And they were talking about something which is so important and so critical. So sometimes people had difficulty. So Radio Islam was not about preaching Islam, which there is nothing wrong about that, but it was more about Muslim talking to each other and our neighbors. So people driving in a car, hey, I didn't realize there is a Muslim radio. And they will say, oh, I used to be a veteran in Iraq and this happened to me and this and that. So we have extraordinary, interesting experiences. It was a talk show between Muslims.
Was it for a 2-hour talk show? Is that what it was?
It was 1 hour. It was 1 hour. And its tagline was, it's about time. Everyone is talking about Islam and Muslim. It's about time that you talk.
There's so much in what you've said. We won't have time to pull it all out. But one of them is this reaction from the NPR. We find that Muslims, in terms of getting interviewed or getting quoted as an expert, they only get invited about something to do with, violence or something to do with quote unquote Islam. And then you had a story about a breast cancer, and that sort of, in a way, it humanizes. Was that one of the roles, or was that something accidental that you came across when you were doing this radio?
No, it was all planned. I mean, Muslim physicians save lives on the daily basis throughout the world, including Canada and America. But not a whole lot of people know about that. It is services we provide. So Muslim physician talking. No, we used to think, and we used to plan 15 shows ahead in advance, and we will talk about almost all issues. And as a result, engagement took place. Half of the people who were surveyed were people of other faith who were listening. University professors, interfaith people, churches, they were recommending people because people thought, okay, it's going to be about religion. Oh, it was about humanity and people and connection between neighbors.
But then did you get a lot of negative people calling in with hate and things?
Well, yeah. In those days, I used to receive a lot of death threats, not connected necessarily with the radio, but I will get death threats. And but there were majority of the people who were very sincere, open heart, and participating in a positive way. Some of those people do, and sometimes one hate monger sits and sends you 500 death threats. So I don't want to enlarge that, but once I responded to a death threat I received, and within 2 or 3 email exchanges, the guy was apologizing. How do you apologize for a death threat? But he did.
Well, congratulations for having the thick skin, I guess, not to be traumatized, but then the skill and knowing how to turn that around. I don't think we can all do that. We're almost out of time, but can you just tell us about the way Radio Islam was folded into Muslim Network TV?
Yes, we had the experience of production. We knew the technical things, and Sound Vision has been producing on Adam's World and documentaries on video format for a while. So it was not a major transition. So we knew the production system and all of those things, and cost of distribution has gone down. Cost of equipment has gone down, and it is the talent and the creativity of people. So it became an easy transition to go from radio to Muslim Network.tv, which is on satellite, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, in your own pocket through your iPhone.
And then was it necessary to close down Radio Islam? It wasn't possible to keep them both, considering the different role that radio plays in people's lives?
I wanted to, but it became an issue of resources. Whatever we have resources, in terms of resources, we want to pull everything together to make the future program more successful.
So if someone's listening and they want to revive Radio Islam and they make a big donation, they can call you and that might help.
I still on radioislam.com.
Has anyone gotten hold of you and said, hey, where's it gone? I used to listen. I can't find it anymore.
No, not really. We have a message on radioislam.com that it has been rolled into Muslim Network TV. So people directly go there. And those people who were going through on air on WCV 1450 AM, unfortunately, after we left, we were the major long-lasting client of that radio station. They unfortunately were in market, and the time was running short, so it was taken off air.
Oh, that's too bad. But unfortunately, we're out of time too. Thanks for joining us and sharing the legacy of Radio Islam.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe. Stay safe and God bless.